Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting The Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts, and I'm excited to introduce you to a new podcast series in partnership with Lord Fairfax Community College. Having provided higher education and career training for the past half-century, LFCC is tightly interwoven into the fabric of the Northern Shenandoah Valley and Piedmont regions. Join me every week for conversations with current and former students to hear their funny and inspiring stories as we learn about their journey to higher education, the role that LFCC has played, where they are now, and where they plan to go. We'll also talk to current and former professors about their experiences and best memories of LFCC over the past 50 years. Get every single episode as they're released on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab, or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, on Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for LFCC Stories. Hello and welcome to the Valley. Today I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Wednesday as you are listening to the show today. We are not on Zoom.
We are not.
We are live in the studio.
It is the weirdest thing.
Right? Niki Cales is my guest. It is the Valley Business Today Front Royal Warren County Chamber edition. And it was so funny when you walked into the studio. I'm like, it is so weird to see you in 3D.
Right? Yeah. I mean, we see each other on a very regular basis.
We talk on the phone every day.
But the Zoom screen, I was telling you, the Zoom screen, even though, you know, it is your face, it doesn't look the same. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, it's really weird. And thank you for calling to offer to bring me coffee because, you know, Gaz doesn't do that. In case he's listening.
Right.
Gaz,
okay, Gaz, come on now.
And I know you're his biggest fan. He's your favorite public information
I love your shows with Gaz. I think Gaz is terrific. I love the banter between the two of you. I think they make for great shows. So
yeah, he needs to start calling and bringing me, you know, coffee or something.
Yeah, Gaz, seriously. It's once a month.
Yeah. Even Jerry Madico on a rare occasion will bring me something or come in drinking his own and then I just take it from him.
So Jerry made a Facebook post yesterday that Sarah, his wife, who obviously is a saint, has been married to him for 8 years.
She is, is there something bigger than a saint? She is a goddess. She is the queen of patience.
Sorry, Jerry.
Yeah, she's got to have a screw loose. I mean, as great as she is, she's got to have a screw loose because really 8 years with Jerry Madico? I don't know.
We love you, Jerry.
I know. So, and while we're giving shout outs today, happy birthday to my fantastic husband.
Yes.
I don't remember how old he is. I just know that he's 2 years older than me, and that's all that really matters.
Right.
But we are, I did the math once that I think in another 5 or 6 years, we will have been together longer than we will have been apart.
That's crazy.
How cool is that?
To think about that. Yes.
So yeah, he's in his mid-50s is what I'll say because I'm in my early 50s. Right. So happy birthday, sweetheart. I hope you're having a fabulous day. We're having lasagna for dinner tonight because that's what he picked for his birthday dinner. And hey, it doesn't require hardly any dishes.
Right.
And it's easy. You just throw it in the oven and wait for it to be done.
Yeah. I'm all about that easy stuff, man. There's too much to do to have to do those big elaborate meals and all those dishes and forget about it.
So what do we got going on chamber-wise? I understand there is a golf tournament on the horizon.
Yes, we're excited, obviously, to be, we're dipping our toes into events again, which is terrific. We're really busy. We've been busy all along with different programs and projects, pandemic related. However, we're starting to get back to the business of the chamber. And so with that, we have the Millionaire Maker golf tournament coming up on May 14th. And that is, of course, the golf tournament where 4 lucky individuals at the end get to shoot for $1 million. So you have to hit a hole in one. It's not on one of the most difficult holes. It's on a par 3. So, I mean, it's doable. So we're accepting teams right now. We've got some sponsorships available. It's at Blue Ridge Shadows on the 14th.
Beautiful course.
Oh, beautiful course. Got to love Brian Jones out at Blue Ridge Shadows, one of my favorite people. And so I just invite people to come out and have fun with us. It's going to be a gorgeous day. They tell me it's always beautiful on the golf course.
Yeah, it never rains on the golf course, Brian says.
Right.
And apparently when I talked to him back in October, November, it also never snows on the golf course. Who knew?
Yeah. And our golf, all of our golf facilities, we've got some really good ones here in Warren County, have done very well in the pandemic, of course, because it's one of those things that you can get out and do. You can get outside and you can enjoy time out on the golf course. And so fortunately for them, because a lot of them have event venues attached to them and they weren't able to have weddings and stuff. So the golf has been the thing that's sort of kept them afloat. So
how do you get to be one of the 4 that are chosen at the end? Do you have to hit a certain golf number? Do you draw names out of a hat?
No. So there's contests on the course, like closest to the pin, those sorts of things. And they're contests that you don't necessarily have to be the best golfer. You just have to be the one who wins that contest. So that's the way that works.
And $1 million out, $1 million.
I know. And do you know how much I really want somebody to hit that?
Well, you were saying that on the coffee break last Friday, that it is well worth giving away $1 million for the small pittance you pay to the insurance company if somebody wins it. Because you got to pay that to the insurance company whether anybody wins $1 million or not. So it would be much better to give away the $1 million.
Yes. Well, and you're a marketing professional. You understand the marketing power of having someone hit for $1 million at our golf tournament. So please.
Yeah, then I could afford to buy a house at Blue Ridge Shadows, live on the golf course where it never rains or snows.
Exactly. Let's do it. I want somebody to win this year. So,
and I promised, speaking of our Friday morning coffee breaks, which I love, we've had new people coming in the last couple of weeks, 10 a.m. every Friday morning. We meet up on the Zoom screen. Mitzi Fox has started a cool new thing that is a wildflower walk.
Yes.
And she's doing it tomorrow morning. As people are listening to this on a Wednesday, she's doing it Thursday mornings on the 8th, the 15th, and the 22nd, 10 a.m. meet up at Easton Park. And she just kind of strolls around. She's a Virginia master naturalist and just kind of points out, this is what this flower is, this is where it grows, this is why it grows. And you just kind of get to wander around and hang out with her and enjoy being outside. The weather's going to be fantastic, I think.
It is. And she's such a beautiful spirit. Yeah. So not only are you getting to enjoy flowers, but you're also, you're getting a really good vibe. Such a wonderful person. And Shenandoah River State Park just made a Facebook post as well. The bluebells are blooming out there too. So join Mitzi tomorrow. It's,
I would rather go do that and see them growing wild than waiting for them to pop in my garden, because once they pop in my garden, so do the weeds, and that requires all of that. Well, I say that, that middle-aged husband of mine pulls all the weeds, but even still, you don't want to have them in there. They're supposed to be there.
Well, and I'm one of those people that, I don't like to get flowers, cut flowers and stuff like that, but I love to see them growing everywhere. I love to see them in their natural habitat.
In their native environment.
Yes.
I will put the flyer for that in the show notes page. So if anybody wants more information about where they meet at Easton Park, how long it is, I think she said it's only a half mile. They walk to the railroad bridge, and it's pretty, laid back and easy going.
And you're walking past the dog park, so the likelihood of you seeing some really cute doggies is pretty high.
Well, you can't bring your dogs because, they get tangled up in leashes and the barking. My dogs in particular. You and I were talking about that on the phone yesterday, that my dogs will see the neighbor in their house across the street down a house and still bark that they are in their house. And it's they haven't learned the don't bark command yet. Is there a don't bark command?
I don't think so.
Because if there's a dog trainer out there listening, they need to reach out to me.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that exists. So it's natural, and it's a nature thing for them. So.
It's exhausing.
Yeah,
That's
it is exhausting.
It is exhausting.
I would agree.
And it's So what else you got on the schedule for the chamber today?
So I would encourage folks to always visit our website, frontroyalchamber.com. It's a work in progress. It's a new website, and we're updating it on a daily basis. And then of course, like our Facebook page, check us out on Instagram to find out all of the things that we have going on. So we'll be debuting more events in the next few weeks.
Registration for the Millionaire Maker golf tournament on the new website?
It is.
Okay.
And one more thing about that, if you get a better price if you register by May 1st.
Oh.
So keep that in mind, folks. You want to pay a little less, register by May 1st.
By the time we talk about this on the first Wednesday in May, the price will have gone up.
Yes, it will. Absolutely. So what I want to do today, Janet, is, since we're doing this live And, social distancing being what it is, I, couldn't bring a member with me. So I'm going to talk to a member today about their business. And that member is going to be you. And we're going to talk about your actual business.
Now I see what you're doing here. Now I get it.
So we're going to talk about the fact that you have a business.
Oh, look, we've got to go to break.
We're going to talk about Java Media and the services you provide, separate and apart from, of course,
your radio show goddess
here.
That I am.
Your radio gig here. Because, I think I think there are a lot of folks that don't understand that you do have a business separate from this and the value in your business. So we're going to talk about that today.
Because you are telling me all the time that I don't talk about the Java Media end enough. And that what is it? They say the cobbler's children has no shoes.
Yes. And you definitely have none.
My stuff looks like crap, but all of the stuff that I do for all of my clients, I think looks amazing.
Right. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
I see how you are. I see this is why. Well, no, I think live will be great. Live will be wonderful. I've got a ton of things to talk about. Yeah. Now I get some friend you are.
I do have a ton of things to talk about. You see all these questions I have in front of me?
Yeah, you didn't send me that ahead of time either.
I didn't.
All right, give me your questions. We'll take a break in a couple of minutes, but I can answer a couple of them first.
All right. So we're going to start with, what's the name of your company?
Java Media. Marketing ideas brewed fresh daily.
Right? Exactly. And anybody who's been on a Zoom with Janet knows that she's dedicated to that Java name, because every Zoom wall is coffee related.
Yes, I have 2 of them now. I'm thinking of a third in the living room where I can sit on a much more comfortable chair when I'm doing the Zoom.
Okay, so now this question might be a little broad. It might take us into break, and then we might have to follow up. So tell me about the services that you provide through Java Media, because I know they're plentiful.
Yes. Well, and it has changed. Much like a lot of businesses have changed over the pandemic. I started Java Media in 1998 as a traditional advertising agency, helping businesses figure out what their ad message should be, where it should be, how it should sound, how much money they should spend getting that message out there. And it's funny because I always credit you with this. Social media came along and Facebook came along, and you were the one that called me up and said, hey, you got to get a Facebook page. This Facebook thing is awesome. And I'm like, what
is she talking about?
This Facebook thing is no. So you made me get on Facebook. I created a Facebook account. I stayed on it for a couple of weeks and thought, this is the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen. I do not care. Love you to death. I don't care what you're having for breakfast. Makes no difference to me at all what you're having for lunch. And that's all Facebook was.
Right.
In the early stages when it wasn't, made for the college kids that it was originally created for. So I got rid of my Facebook page in just a couple of weeks after getting it. And then had clients calling, hey, this Facebook thing, is this something we should be doing? And I'm like, crap.
Here we go.
And it's crazy because since then, probably 90% of what I do is social media based in some sort or another, because everything marketing wise comes from social media in one way or another. So I teach a lot of classes. Before the pandemic, we did a lot of workshops. I did a ton of them with you at the chamber. I do some with the Luray Chamber. I've done them with the Winchester Chamber. Anybody who has ever heard me talk about chambers of commerce know that I am a huge fan. As a small business owner, you cannot not be a member of your local chamber. The marketing value that it gives you alone, networking aside, sponsorship stuff aside, the marketing value that you get from being a member of your local chamber is huge. And that's why I always did all of my workshops and classes. I manage some accounts, not a lot. I'm kind of particular these days because it is time consuming.
It is.
And it is just me. So I've got a handful of clients that I have had for years and years. And when I came here to the station, I kind of put all that on the back burner and thought, you know what? This is going to be my Guy Curtis tomorrow will reference the silver tsunami. This was going to be my silver tsunami. I was just going to do the radio show, get a new website for the station, and that's what was going to happen. And then the pandemic hit, and all of these clients that I hadn't really been doing much with started crawling out of the wood. I need help. What do I do? I can't be open. I don't know how to do the Facebook like I should. It was fine pre-pandemic, but now it's all anybody's looking for. And suddenly Java Media was reborn, and I needed a lot more coffee to get through it all.
Yes.
So yeah, in a nutshell, I teach, I audit, A lot of companies will call me and say, hey, can you just take a look at all of our stuff and tell us what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and where we can improve? I do a lot of those. I really do enjoy the training aspect.
Right.
Since I can't manage a lot of different pages, I love teaching people how they can manage, or teaching their staff, this is what you should do, how you should do it, why you should do it, and what it should look like. So that's a lot of what I do these days.
Well, and let's touch on that. I know we have to take a break. I know Lonnie wanted you to take a
break.
break.
He wrote down my times for me so that I didn't screw up like I did
So
with
we'll
Boss.
take a break, but when we come back, I want to touch on that because social media can be very overwhelming. So you have tactics and tricks and those sorts of things that you can help your clients manage that.
Yeah. So I'll think of those during the break. So we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and apparently talk about me here on the Valley Business Today. Niki Gales is in the studio live with me today for the Valley Business Today. She is the president at the Front Royal Warren County Chamber of Commerce. We're going to come back and continue our conversation in just a couple of minutes.
Got a financial decision to make or a goal to reach, but you don't know where to start? You've come to the right place. Introducing Quick Money Chats with the Northern Shenandoah Valley Financial Education Program. Visit tinyurl.com/Quick Money Chat to schedule a virtual chat with a staff member or trained volunteer. We won't tell you what to do, but we will give you the tools you need to choose wisely. And because Virginia Cooperative Extension is part of Virginia Tech and Virginia State, your land-grant universities, you can be sure that our information is credible and trustworthy. And you'll know that we aren't trying to sell you something. Maybe you want to improve your credit score, or reduce your banking overdraft fees, or even figure out if you can afford to buy that car. Sorting through tons of information on the internet can be overwhelming, and sometimes it can be hard to know who to trust. Schedule a Quick Money Chat and get the information you need to take action. Go to tinyurl.com/Quick Money Chat and get financial education personalized for you.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Wednesday. It is the Valley Business Today. Niki Gales is live in the studio with me from the Front Royal Warren County Chamber of Commerce. And I got to say, she has an amazingly interesting guest today.
I kind of feel like since I'm interviewing you, aren't I the host?
Maybe you should do the intro. Yeah, we should have done that during the break. I was too busy looking at my phone because my husband did text me to remind me that in addition to his birthday, it's also National Beer Day. And should anyone see him out and about today on his travels, he would be more than happy to accept a free beer from anyone who would like to offer it.
I think that's a fantastic idea. So, yeah.
I mean, we did name one of the dogs after his favorite beer. Miller got his name because, Miller High Life, which I have been told is a nasty beer,
really
is his favorite beer. I don't do beer.
So, folks, rather than grabbing a Miller High Life for National Beer Day, I would recommend that you go see Billy at Backroom Brewery.
Yes.
Or you go see Tim and Carrie at Front Royal Brewing, or go to both. And there's outdoor seating at both places, so you could drink a beer in this beautiful weather.
And I say I don't like beer. Billy has 2 beers that I will drink, and she has the cocktails. So that's
those
where my
cocktails
jam is.
are pretty.
That's
stuff.
where my jam is. So tell me more about this fantastic guest that you have today, Niki.
So my fantastic guest sort of is Miss Do It All. She's got her stuff together. So when we went to break, we were talking about managing social media, and that can be overwhelming for a lot of folks, especially because there are so many platforms, social media platforms. You and I've joked with you a lot. I'm a Twitter quitter. I've never been able to do it, but there are so many things out there: Instagram, TikTok, all of these things. And so on top of it being overwhelming to figure out just how to use Facebook, there are all of these others. So should everybody be on every social media platform?
No. And you would be amazed at the look of relief that I get from people that attend workshops and seminars and webinars that I do when I tell them you don't have to be on all of them.
Right.
And you probably shouldn't be because it comes back to knowing who your customer is. And then once you know who your customer is or your potential customer, what social networks are they using? And say they are using 3 of the big ones. Say they're using Facebook, they're using Instagram, and they're using Twitter, or they're using TikTok. If that's what they're doing, pick one. Learn it, understand it, use it, and then move on to the other. You're not going to lose any traction by not doing all three at once. What you will lose is people following you if you're not doing them all to the best of your ability. And the biggest mistake that I see a lot of businesses doing is posting the same thing on all of them. They have automated it. Back in the day, I used to recommend that. I'd say, you know what, at least go ahead and get all of them set up and then just share. If it goes on Facebook, it'll go on Twitter, or if it goes on Instagram, it'll go on Facebook. There are different people using those different social media networks for different reasons.
Right.
And if I am a fan of, say, the Chamber, and I see your Facebook post, and then an hour or two later I'm on Instagram, and I see the same post on Instagram, and then 10 minutes later I'm on Twitter, and I see the same post on Twitter, I'm really annoyed with you now because it's the same thing over and over again.
Well, and they just don't fit. I mean, they're different platforms. Like I can't make the same post on Instagram that I've made on Facebook because it doesn't fit the platform.
No. There are rare occasions where you can do an Instagram post and share it to Facebook, but not on a regular basis. Not every Instagram post should go on Facebook. You can't share from Facebook to Instagram. The platforms are just too different for that. And if I am on Twitter, I am on Twitter for a reason. I know you're the Twitter quitter.
Yes.
I was 3 times, and now I can't get enough of it. I am on Twitter probably 100 times a day looking at stuff because it's quick, it's fast, I'm in, I'm out, I get information that I need, and then I move on my way. If I am on my Twitter feed and see a bunch of posts from somebody that is a link back to their Facebook, it annoys me because if I wanted to see them on Facebook, I'd be on Facebook. So you really have to know who your customers are, who you want them to be, and what they would be using, and then be on those networks. Not every business is going to need to be on TikTok. Not every business is going to need to be on Snapchat. Snapchat, frankly, is probably the least likely that most businesses need to even focus any of their time on. It's just not a good advertising mechanism.
Right. So let's talk about that for a second. I know the answer to this because, I've been in enough of your seminars.
You could teach some of my seminars.
But you reference several times now knowing who your customer is. And so that is incredibly important. Now, that's one of the things that you can do for your clients is help them determine who their customer is, and talk about that a little bit.
I hear a lot when I ask people. That's one of the first questions that I ask. So tell me about your customer. Who's your customer? And a lot of the answers are, well, it's anybody with money.
Right.
No, that's not it. You know who your customers are. You just have to do a little bit of digging and a little bit of legwork to figure it out. Do you have more men than you do women? Are they in a certain age bracket? Do they have a certain amount of college? Are they radio listeners? Are they TV watchers? Are they streaming people?
Right.
And it's not that difficult to find out a lot of that information about them. You can ask. When they come in and they're buying something, you don't bombard them with all the questions at once, but you just pick, okay, so for the month of April, I'm going to ask people, hey, what's your favorite radio station?
Right.
And then I've got a little note or a little spreadsheet at the register that I'm just checking a box. I don't need to know what their name is or any of that. I just need to know the quantity of people. So you can start to build that customer profile. So then when somebody comes in and they want to sell you something, they want you to buy this ad here or that ad there, you can think, okay, well, would my customer read that, listen to that, see that? And it's going to make it so much easier when you decide where you're going to place your advertising dollars, much less help you figure out which one of these social media networks you need to be using.
Right. Okay. So, again, another thing that I know, but I want you to stress
You really were the perfect person to do this interview. If I ever were going to let somebody do the interview, it probably,
I'm sitting here thinking, I've got so many questions. By the time we get
7
to 12,
minutes.
I know I do. And so I'm going to need a part 2, I believe. But one of the things that I think is really important, you and I have talked about this a couple of times on like live Facebook interviews and stuff like that. A lot of folks shifted the way that they did business during the pandemic. So as the pandemic is easing, some of the things that they were doing, whether it's curbside, any of those things, there's so many different services. Some businesses are deciding that
they're done with that now.
Right. They can go back to the way things were. And we've talked about this. The genie's out of the bottle.
It's a huge mistake.
Right.
And I said that early on.
Yes.
I said that before we were even midway through this pandemic. And then what I have learned from doing the radio show and talking to other businesses, other organizations, nonprofits, is that they have learned a lot in this pandemic that they are going to continue doing. Right. Because their customers, their people have come to grow used to that sort of thing. So if you are a restaurant, for example, that never did takeout, never did curbside, never did delivery, and then you found yourself yourself having to do it because of the pandemic, you better make sure before you decide you're not doing any of it again when this pandemic is over, that your customers are still going to come back inside and sit down.
Right.
Because now we're all creatures of a different habit. We have had, it wasn't like it was a month or 2 months or even 3 months. We've had a year to get into the habit of calling in or ordering online, swinging to the parking lot, picking something up and being on our way.
Yes.
That is not going anywhere.
No.
So you need to think long and hard before you start pulling some of that stuff away. And if you're going to do it anyway, you need to be using these social media networks to kind of gauge what the customer response and outcry is. Because that's the other big thing that people don't pay attention to, and they never have the right response, is when somebody criticizes them on social media. Because it's personal to them. They make a post and somebody says, oh, their food is terrible, or oh, that guy is a hack. And their first response is to defend themselves.
Sure.
That's one of the biggest things that I do. And I do that kind of as a side thing, is be the third person. Be the person that doesn't have a dog in that fight. They can come back and say, I'm really sorry that you had a bad experience. Talk to me about what we can do to make it right. This was a crazy day. Or, somebody that can be objective to answer that kind of stuff, instead of coming back and saying, well, I don't like you either. And the next thing you know, it's out of control and you're stuck.
Well, you're right. I think that's a good point for a lot of businesses to have that buffer, because it is very personal. When you own that business, it's like a child, so to speak. And so when someone, doesn't necessarily like a service that they received, that is very personal. So having that buffer in between to be able to handle that, and I think you're absolutely right. So I had a beautiful lunch over the weekend. I sat out on the patio at Front Row Brewery, had a terrific lunch, great beer, but if I hadn't had the ability to sit out on the patio, I'm not going back inside and dining, and I don't know how long it'll be before I do that. Yeah. But having the ability to do curbside and those sorts of things, I'm a creature of that habit now. I mean, that's going to be.
You're going to get my money that way long before you get my money the other way.
Absolutely. So I think that's a good. A really good point. Okay, so we're going to shift gears. Okay. And we're going to talk about podcasting.
Okay, well, since you're going to do podcasting, I told Lonnie I'd be done at 12:40, but I'll give you till 12:42. How about that?
Okay, sounds good.
Because we're talking about one of my favorite topics.
So let's talk podcasting, because it's the thing.
It is the thing, because what we have learned from a radio station perspective is that this pandemic has caused audio to suddenly have a rebirth.
Yes.
People are listening more to stuff than they are watching things on YouTube or anything else. People are listening, and they want to, much like I want to pick up my food and eat it where I want to eat it when I want to eat it, people want to hear what they want to hear when they want to hear it, where they want to hear it.
Very true.
And that's the cool thing about podcasting. It used to be taboo, and we're podcasters officially aren't supposed to reference it this way, but a lot of people say, well, I still don't understand what it is. And for me, the best description that I can find to tell people is podcasting is like audio of Netflix. So you have this massive library of all of these Netflix shows that you want to watch. Podcasting is the same thing. You just access them through the Apple Podcast app or on a particular place's website. Like ours, it's the river953.com under podcasts.
Right.
You go there and you can listen to whatever you want to listen to whenever you want to listen to it, and it's always there. And it is going to be a huge marketing tool for businesses moving into the next year, 5 to 10 years. Because you get to control the message.
Yes, you do.
It's like being on the radio show with me without having to be on the radio show. Because you can talk about your employees, you can talk about your product, you can talk about your service, and really get in the weeds versus what you could do in, say, a 30, 60-second commercial on TV, on the radio, or what you could even put in a newspaper ad. So it's really going to be this eye-opening wow, I think, for a lot of small business owners.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm a binge listener to the podcast for this show. While I'm working, and I think a lot of people do that sort of stuff now. There's a lot of times that I'll curbside my lunch and then go sit down at the park and I'll listen to a podcast. I've told you, I don't know if you've gone and listened to him yet, but Scott Galloway, I've told you I am a devotee of his now, and I listen to that podcast every chance I get. So it is I don't want to say that it's an easy thing to do because I know not everybody has the same sort of personalities that we have.
Yeah.
Like we could talk to a wall. Let's be real. Not everybody has that personality. However, we're in a time now.
Yeah. It's a lot easier than you think with Zoom being so accessible. You can use Zoom. If you don't want to use the video, Zoom gives you the capability, like I use for the radio shows, of saving the audio. You can practice. Just because you record it doesn't mean you have to use it. Okay. You can send it to somebody else and say, hey, have a listen to this and tell me what you think. I've probably in the last 6 months, I have listened to no more than a dozen of podcast startups that have sent me an episode and said, hey, what do you think about this? Is it a good concept? Will you give a listen to this 15 or 20 minute long piece of audio? And then I'll listen and I'll send back and say, hey, this was great, but you're a little grainy. Here's how you can improve your audio quality. Here's some topics.
So, okay. So we've kind of covered some things, but I still don't feel like we've driven home the point that this is a business that you do. These are services that you provide.
Yes.
And so folks can get in touch with you separate and apart from the radio station by doing what?
Well, again, I'll go back to the Cobbler's Children Has No Shoes. Java Media has a Facebook page, so they can find Java Media on Facebook. Java Media has an Instagram account. They can find Java Media on Instagram. There you will mostly see pictures of my flowers and my dogs, but hey, to each his own.
Hey, that's what Instagram is. It's pretty pictures.
And that's kind of how it works. You can find me on Twitter, though I don't necessarily recommend that because a lot of my Twitter stuff is more personal than it is professional. You can go to my website, javamediamarketing.com. Easy enough. I've got my email and stuff there. They can send me a text. My phone number and everything is on the website. Don't call me. I don't listen to voicemail. Yeah. That's kind of my thing.
And her voicemail, just don't even listen. Just
my
send her a
voicemail
text.
tells you to stop and do not leave a message because I'm not going to listen to it because I just don't like the tone of some people's voices. And most of my voicemails is spam and crap anyway. So
mine too. Yeah,
just
mine too.
send me a text. That's probably the best way to do it. And as I've learned, my address is even out there because listeners have sent me gifts in the last couple of weeks.
That's awesome.
So while that's awesome. A little creepy, it's still a little cool if you're sending me something nice.
Yes, exactly.
So that's the secret. So that's kind of it. I've been doing it for a long time. I love doing it. I love even if it's just somebody calling up saying, hey, I just need 20 minutes. Give me your thoughts on this. Those are the kinds of things that I love doing.
Right. So we're just to recap, services like social media, like you do a social media checkup, right?
Yep.
You'd look at folks' social media. If they want to start a podcast, if they want to determine who their customer is, or if they need some training. Those are sort of the
all in, and then watch for webinars. I always put them up on my website. I have an email campaign. We didn't even touch on how important email is for marketing and that sort of thing. Maybe you'll hang around for a couple minutes afterwards and we'll talk about email marketing.
Let's do that.
After the podcast. People will have to listen to the podcast in order to hear
bonus content.
That works. See? And now I've started the music, so that means we've got to stop in a minute and you can't be the host anymore.
Dang it.
Well, thank you. This was fun because I usually don't like talking about me. The reason I love this job is because I get to talk about other people. Right. But at least it was you and it was fun and I didn't feel like, I was a walking infomercial. So
well, there you go.
This must be what guests feel like when they're done with the radio show. We are going to wrap up our conversation today. We have been chatting with Niki Kales from the Front Royal Warren County Chamber of Commerce and me, Janet Michael from Java Media. I will be back tomorrow. I mentioned earlier, I've already recorded tomorrow's show. It is with Guy Curtis from Lord Fairfax Community College's Workforce Solutions. We are having a conversation with Jeff Hill about Leadership Institute. So meet me back here for that show a few minutes after noon. And again, all of the details, all of the links to everything that we talked about, even my own stuff, will be in the podcast notes. Go to theriver953.com. Click on the podcast tab. There you will find the Valley today. Meet you back here tomorrow. Nobody hears. I want to make sure that we weren't suddenly by accident back on the air because I turned the mics on. Yeah, see, this is what happens when I stay away from the studio for so long. So, we're joking. We're going to keep talking even afterwards because email is so easy.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, you guys use email at the chamber. You use Constant Contact, and I think you sometimes use MailChimp as well. Those are the two big ones. I prefer MailChimp over Constant Contact. It's so much easier to use. You get 2,000 email addresses before they start charging you anything. And even when they do, it's comparable to what Constant Contact charges anyway.
Sure. And I find the building an email, like the actual laying in the pictures and that sort of stuff, I just find it a little easier. And I think for folks who maybe aren't comfortable, it's probably an easier platform to use.
Oh, yeah, it is. And most people will give you their email address, especially nowadays.
Absolutely.
It is a whole lot easier to get an email address from one of your customers or one of your prospects than it is to get them to follow you on Facebook.
Oh, no, I agree with you 100%. Absolutely.
And if you get that email address, you are guaranteed that whatever you're putting in that email is getting into their inbox by using one of these mail services. You're not guaranteed when you make a post on Facebook that the person that you're targeting is actually going to see it, much less act on whatever it is that you're asking them to do in that post.
Oh, sure. Well, but then it is easy, but then the content has to be valuable.
Yeah. It's got to be good stuff. It can't just be, hey, we've got this on sale and hey, we've got that on sale. If you're a retail business, feature a product. Talk about the benefits. I remember my very early days in radio back in, I don't even remember when, well, it was before Josh was born. So it's been more than 25 years ago. They taught us about radio is features versus benefits. Okay. And benefits are exactly what they sound. Features are, it comes in blue, it comes in green, and that sort of thing. Benefits are, this will help you make your life easier. This will transform your outfit. This will make you feel better when you put it on and you wear it outside. So think about how you can feature products, how your services can change somebody's life and why they would need it. A lot of email stuff that I work on with clients are usually things like top 5 things to look for, top 10 things about. Lists are really easy. People love the crap out of lists.
I do too. I love it. Yeah. If you send me an email that has that in the subject line, I'm opening it every time.
Yeah. And it's simple enough. If you have a restaurant or a winery or a brewery or a cidery or a distillery or any of those eries, you can do recipes, you can do food pairings, you can do things that then make your product even more useful. And it could be something where, I kind of want to go get a bottle of wine, but I'm really not sure what kind. And then I see a recipe for something that I really want to try. Now I'm going to come buy that bottle of wine because I want to use it with the recipe that you've given me. So you can sneak those sales in sometimes on the back end through email, and using the services, there's, like we said, Constant Contact, MailChimp, Aweber is one. You also get stats. How many people opened those emails? How many times did it bounce? Do you have a bad email? How many clicks? If there was a link to something on your website, if there was a link to your Facebook page for them to follow you, you get to see all of that and know whether it's working or not. And if something isn't working, don't keep doing it. You can tweak it and do something different in the next email.
Yeah, that data is you can't put a value.
No.
You cannot put a value on that and how important that, and you have to look at it. So you can't just send out the email and just keep sending it out week after week. You have to analyze that data. And again, in order to understand it, invest in somebody like you. Invest in your services to come in, show you how to set it up, and then help you understand what that data means so that you can change it as as you need to. And
the other thing that I get a lot of is, I already do email. I'm like, how do you do email? I just use my Outlook.
No.
Oh my God, don't do that. And I think I have finally gotten to the point where I don't laugh at them. I hope that I have gotten to the point where I don't laugh at people. But that is the number one way to get your domain name blacklisted. It is the number one way to ensure it's going to get marked as spam. You could lose the ability to send email from whatever email service you're using, Comcast, Chantel, any of those. If you are sending blocks of emails to 20, 30, 40, 50, 150 people, they will flag that and stop it. Plus, you can't be pretty in those kinds of emails like you can with the other ones. And pretty is what sells. Pretty is what gets people to open it these days.
Absolutely. You have to have an attractive image and a good message. It's vital. Yeah. So one of the other features that I really like in MailChimp just added it is surveys.
Yeah.
So you can survey your customers through Constant Contact and MailChimp, and it's very simple. It's simple to put those surveys together. And again, it tabulates it for you, gives you all of the details. It's just a no-brainer.
Well, I mentioned during the show, I mean, it's very hard when you've got a customer who's buying your product standing at your register to suddenly say, well, how much college did you have? And, how much money do you make? And,
right, exactly.
Where do you get your news? What do you listen to radio stations? Do you read newspapers? It's very hard to do all of that standing at the register when they're trying to give you money and get the heck out of your store.
Right, exactly.
But in a survey that people think is anonymous, it's a whole lot easier for them to pick a range. Well, I make between my household income is between this, and that's really not as important to most small businesses as they think it is.
Right.
Because the key is you want to know male or female, you want to know their age, and you want to know how they get their information. Those are the three biggest pieces of information, the most important pieces of data that you can get from people, because that's going to help shape where you put what and what that message looks like.
Sure.
Because that's going to draw the people back in again.
Sure. Well, and you can have the most, beautiful store in the world, right? And with all of this really cool merchandise. But if you're positioned in the wrong place and you have a different caliber of customer that's coming into your store that stuff doesn't appeal to, it doesn't do you any good.
And sometimes it's tough because small business owners are in their box.
Yes, absolutely.
They are so busy doing the books, making the payroll, training their staff, they're ordering their inventory, that they forget or don't understand how to step outside of that and think from their customer's perspective.
Right.
And that's what I do a lot, is just come in as their customer and say, well, here's what I see. And sometimes they like it. Sometimes they don't.
Sure.
Sometimes they're a little offended, but it is what it is. And if you recognize that, embrace it, and then make that change, you're going to see so much more success.
Well, and that's why a service like yours is valuable, because that provides that insight. And again, it provides that look from outside. So again, like you said, folks are in their box and they don't necessarily see all of the other, stuff, but somebody who's on the outside and who can help you determine, again, who your customer is. The most important thing. Who is your customer?
Yeah. Well, and I remember years ago, I had a client and she had a high-end hair salon. And she had called me up and she said, hey, the guy from Valpak just left and he's got a really good deal. And, I think that it wasn't very much money. But I told him I had to talk to you before I said yes. So what do you think? Should I take advantage of this really good deal on Valpak? And I said, absolutely not. She's like, what do you mean? I said, think about it. You're charging $200-$300 for women to come in and get their highlights and get their haircut and get a massage and get all of these things. Are these women looking at Valpak first? And are they coupon people? No.
Right. Where's your...
They're not.
Who, yeah.
That's not who you should be targeting. Those are not the... You're going to get the coupon cutters that come in. They're only going to come once. You're going to lose money on them, and they're going to complain the whole time because they think they're getting a deal, but their deal is not what you're offering them. You're better suited to pick 10 of your best customers and ask them to invite a friend at no charge. That's your best option, is to do something that way. You give the friend a half price and they both get half price or two for the price of one.
Right.
Something like that. That's a better advertising vehicle for you than Valpak that isn't going into the hands of your actual customers.
Well, and exactly. Those are the things that it's really hard for a business owner to, again, step outside of doing the books and doing all of these other things that they have to do to think about. But those are that creativity.
Yeah.
And creating that new customer stream.
And just not realizing, and I'll throw Herb under the bus only because Herb doesn't own the Daily Grind on Main Street in Front Royal anymore.
Right.
But when I managed all of his stuff for him when he did own it, we had somebody that came in one day and they did a review on Yelp. And they talked about how they came in for lunch and it was a terrible experience.
Right.
Their soup was cold. The bun was tough on their hot dog. I forget what it was. They just went on and on and on about what a horrible, horrible lunch it was. Herb immediately, without just Janet will handle it, immediately go, I am so sorry. I really don't want you to have had a bad experience. The next time you come in, please ask for me. This is my name and I will give you a free lunch. On the surface, he thought he was doing well. He didn't get snarky with them. He didn't, accuse them of lying or any of that. But what he did do was put out there on the internet that all you got to do is complain about lunch and Herb will give you something for free.
Yeah.
Didn't even occur to him when he was making that response. So I had to go in, immediately delete it and say, DM you. We're going to send you a private message to make this right. The general public then sees, oh, look, this guy's reaching out to him. He's making an effort. That's all the general public needs to see.
Right.
Not that, oh, I'm going to go in and have lunch and then say it was cold or it was
a bad
gross.
experience,
And then
right.
Herb's going to give me a free lunch and wahoo, I can play this all day long.
Yeah.
It's little things like that sometimes in the moment you don't think about.
Right.
That third person objective opinion can step in and say, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
And let's not respond that way necessarily.
Yeah, and those are all, again, those are all things that, when you're in the thick of it, you don't think about it. So it's important to make sure that you surround yourself with professionals that can, that can help you navigate those issues. Because social media, podcasting, all of these things that we've talked about, they're vitally important to your business, but it's a big, wide world.
Yeah, they are hard, but they are necessary.
Yes.
And you just got to get through it to, figure it out. It's kind of like these puppies. And so I relate everything now back to these puppies. They are hard work. They take up a whole lot of time. But at the end of the day in the evening when they're laying on your lap and they're asleep and you realize you've done something right, it is worth all the time and the energy.
So
you put into
I
it.
am reading a book right now that I'm 3/4 of the way through it, and I'm telling you this book is life altering for me. Might not be for everybody, but it is for me. And it's by Glennon Doyle. Untamed is the name of the book. And if she says it one time in the book, she says it 500 times. We can do hard things.
Yeah. Of course we
can.
can.
It's that simple. We can do hard things.
And on that note, we're done.
Yes, we are. Thank you, Janet.
Thank you for hanging out.
Yes, it was great.
I don't often get guests that want to hang out afterwards, mostly because they're on Zoom all day nowadays. But anyway, thank you.